Welcome back. All right, so normally when there's games on all day, I can do reviews of the matinee games and whatnot early and get that all done. Today there was no time. All these games overlapped, everything overlapped, which is standard on President's Day weekend. It can be a little bit frustrating for me because there's other video stuff I wanted to do today. Didn't have the time. I may set up a couple of boards tonight to try to get those videos put in for tomorrow. Because tomorrow is kind of a busy day too. There's no time without hockey for the most part during tomorrow, other than those little breaks, right? The in-between period breaks. So I did the one news video today, and of course the preview that I did last night, post this morning. I have to do the preview tonight now for tomorrow as well. So yeah, Tuesday I guess I'll be able to get more content out there as we look towards the trade deadline. But for today, you got an 8-game review here rather than me reviewing individual games. All right, so we're going to start off with Carolina and Pittsburgh, a game that started about 3 days ago. What was interesting was, so Sportsnet's carrying the feed from Pittsburgh, right? Which is ATT Sportsnet. And it's Raanta versus Jarry in this one. And the Pittsburgh announcers seemed to be quite put out that it was Antti Raanta in net rather than Anderson. They wanted Anderson versus Jarry, a battle of the All-Stars. But I think Rod Brindamore was playing a hunch that he's playing Raanta today and Anderson tomorrow, and the hunch pays off here. So they had a nice ceremony before the game for Crosby's 500th goal, right? And so Crosby halfway to 1,000 goals, probably not going to get there, but he'd have to start aging for us to actually think about what his final total is going to be. Early chances for the Canes are saved. The Penguins pressure at 2 minutes, but they're not getting shots out of that. The shots are 4-0 for Carolina at 3.5 minutes. Rust can't bury one in close. The Canes rush. Malkin's then denied on a break. The Canes get a power play. Svechnikov was denied. After the kill, the Penguins, they then get the power play. There's a shorthanded chance for Trocheck. There's one for Aho as well. It's killed off. And after it's done, Rodriguez has a rush chance where he was denied. Evan Rodriguez came into this game a long time in between goals for him, right? Dumoulin breaks up a 2-on-1, but then before the period's out, Kotkaniemi, who's been pretty hot lately, he scores from Martinook and Jarvis at 15-18. Then Svechnikov in alone after that. He's denied by Jarry. So Carolina's threatening to go up by a bit here. But with 2:25 left, the Penguins get a power play. The Canes did kill it off, but it kind of killed the momentum towards that second goal. The momentum picks up again in the second period, however, where Stahl has one that bounces in off of him at 9 seconds. And for Jordan Stahl, who's been fighting the puck lately, maybe that helps him out and maybe it'll get him start scoring again, right? Penguins try to answer. Jarvis exits for some repairs. Got caught in the face either with a stick or with a puck. He would come back. Jarry saves when the Canes press. I'm pretty sure he came back because he took a penalty. Pressed by the Penguins at 7.5 minutes. There's a near miss for Carter and close. Svechnikov to Aho. Nice pass there, and Jarry makes the save. Jarry ends up being quite the hero for Pittsburgh today. It doesn't show in the final numbers, but there were so many really good opportunities for Carolina that Jarry just denies. Crosby has a wraparound that wouldn't go. Teravainen's denied. Marino has a shot saved, or a shot that's tipped, saved by Raanta. But Rust breaks the shutout from Letang and Malkin at 14:43, and with that, the momentum shifts. Pittsburgh starts to take over the game. And Crosby gets his 501st goal from Gensel and Rust at 17:59. Blasts it far side, no chance for Raanta on that. And reminds us, right, Crosby can score goals too. Forgot about it. And so the Penguins then go for the lead. Things get kind of scrappy at the horn, but it's a tie game at 2 after 2 periods. Third period, 9 seconds. I don't know what to tell you. Fast from Niederreiter and Shea. So 2 goals in the first 9 seconds of the second and third period for Carolina. Penguins then get a power play. That's killed off. There's a press by the Penguins at 4.5 minutes. Crosby hits the crossbar. The Canes press. They're kept to the outside, however. Rust has a sharp angle shot saved. The Penguins press during that. Svechnikov has a rush that draws a power play with 6:22 left, and they score on it to make the score 4-2. It's Aho from Teravainen and D'Angelo at 14:18. So, now down by 2. Pittsburgh pulls the goalie with 3 minutes left. The Penguins get a power play with 2:30 left. That makes it a 6-on-4, and they do score. It's Rodriguez on the power play. So he gets his first goal in a while from Malkin and Letang at 18:48. Rodriguez went cold as soon as Malkin came back. I don't think those things are unrelated. But that's as close as Pittsburgh gets. They pull the goalie again, but your final score is 4-3 for Carolina. They go to 34-11-4 with the win. For Pittsburgh, with their second straight loss, they go to 31-13-8. Your shots, 12-7 Carolina in the first, 13 apiece in the second, 13-5 Pittsburgh in the third. Final shots, 33-30 for Pittsburgh. Power plays, Carolina 1 for 2, Pittsburgh 1 for 4. Hits, 28-20 for Carolina. Ronta saves 31 out of 34. Jari saves 26 out of 30. So, yeah, the stats don't tell you, but Jari kept this one from being 6 or 7-3. Absolutely. All right, next up, Montreal. So, on the preview for today, I said, I kind of liked Montreal in this one. And they played a pretty darn good game. They're getting better. They are absolutely getting better. And the good news with this one, too, was Andrew Hammond, his first game in the NHL in a while. He hadn't won a regular season game in the NHL since 2016. So he's in against Sorokin. Early press by the Islanders. Martin in a scrum near the Habs bench, which I'm sure surprises everybody to see Matt Martin getting involved in that kind of thing. I think Pizzetta was involved for Montreal. Shocker of shockers, I know. Habs get a power play out of all that. Caulfield has a chance that's saved. That's killed off. The shots are 3 apiece at 6 minutes. Lehkonen with a rush chance, that's saved and held. And then it's Pizzetta scoring from Kulak and Paling at 9:01. And this is the 10th out of the last 11 games the Islanders allow the first goal. And I think the other game was against Vancouver, wasn't it? I don't think Vancouver had the first goal in that one. They might have. I know Islanders destroyed him in that first period. So then the Islanders had a 2-on-1 that misfires. The power play goes to the Islanders not long after. Pajot hits the outside of the net. That power play's killed off, manages one shot. With 1:24 left, the Islanders go back to the power play. And then at the horn, Evans takes a penalty. So right at the 20-minute mark. So that means that for the first 36 seconds of the second period, it's a 5-on-3 for the Islanders. They don't score during the 5-on-3, but they do during the 5-on-4. Palmieri from Parisi and Bailey at 1:29. 6 minutes into this second period, the shots are 6-1 for the Islanders. So after a slow start, they're starting to get it together. And you got to figure, well, Hammond hasn't been in the league in a while, and so, they'll get this figured out. Nelson nearly scores. The Habs did clear that out. The Habs had a 3-on-2. Nelson broke that up. The Islanders get a power play. Another anyways. That one didn't succeed. The Habs get a power play. There's a near miss for Caulfield, who had another good game. And that's killed off. And then at 18:49, Anderson restores the lead for Montreal from Suzuki and Caulfield. And he wired that one top shelf. It was a really nice goal. Nice pass by Suzuki as well. So we go to the third period with Montreal ahead 2-1. There's a post for Parisi on the first shift. So maybe don't do that. The Habs press, Sorokin holds. The first 5 are good road game by the Habs. First 5 minutes, I thought they played very, very well. Paling with a near miss wide. Pajot then has a net drive that's saved and held by Hammond. The Islanders press at 6 minutes. Caulfield was then denied in the slot. The Habs, I thought, were coughing up the puck in their own end a little bit too much. Now, for a team that comes in 9-33-7, odds are that's not really news. But I thought it was noteworthy that, they were definitely doing that a little bit too much. Paling fires one high on a rush. The Islanders press with 4:30 left, and there were some hits being thrown there too. And then Nelson ties the game from Bellows and Aho at 17:03. So it's a rush goal, and it was during a line change by the Habs. You've got to watch when you're changing lines, where the puck is, and all of that wonderful stuff. Beauvillier's then robbed. The Islanders press, but we go to overtime. In the overtime, the Habs control on the faceoff. Pajot steals it. The Islanders have a 2-on-1. Pajot's denied. The Habs, then they get a rush opportunity the other way. Sherratt to Picklick. That won't go. Evans was then robbed after that. Sherratt had a chance that was saved as well. Sherratt was prominent in this game. He is, I would think, being showcased for a trade. They even had him playing on the right side, which the announcers speculated might be because a team has called Montreal and said, we'd like to see him on the right side and see if he can play there. Islanders press in the final 30 seconds. The fans were really into this, but we go to a shootout. And in the shootout, Caulfield and Pitlick both score goals. Montreal wins this one 3-2 in the shootout. They go to 10-33-7. Yes, they're double digit in wins. They got there. They've passed the Winnipeg Jets of, I think it's 82, right? The Islanders 18-20-7 with the shootout loss. This is another one of those ones that for Islanders, it just turns them into likely sellers. at the deadline. The shots, 13-10 Montreal in the first, 12-5 Islanders in the second, 9-6 Islanders in the third. In the overtime, Montreal outshoots the Islanders 3-1. Final shots, 32-27 for the Islanders. Power plays, Montreal 0 for 2, Islanders 1 for 4. Hits, 33-24 for the Islanders. Hammond saves 30 out of 32 for his first victory since, I think it's 2016. Sorokin, 25 saves on 27 shots. Both goalies were very good, and it was a good shootout victory for Montreal. We'll see if they can continue to play spoiler. All right, next up, Florida. They do it again. So here's the thing with Florida. I swear they play while they're asleep. I wanted to use the Snorlax for them, and then change it over to, I'm trying to think of the name now, Charizard. I was going to change it and then pause to change it to a Charizard, but I don't have Pokemon decals I can turn into magnets. And I'm not ordering a whole slew of them just to use for that kind of thing. So it's Burakovsky versus Fleury in this one. Verhaeghe's denied on a fast break. The Hawks get an early power play. There was a shorthanded 2-on-1 that's defended. That's killed off. The shots are 5-1 for Chicago at 5 minutes. Chicago comes out playing very well. Again, Florida just kind of asleep. The Hawks press with 8.5, or the 2 minutes of 4-on-4. The Hawks defending very well, not giving Florida much to look at. The Hawks press with 8.5 minutes left, with 6 minutes left. Florida just had one shot. That's it. And then at 16:33, on their third shot, second on that play, Ekblad scores from Reinhart and Marchment. They're being outshot badly, and they score and they get the lead. This is how it works. However, in the final minute, Kane, from kind of a bad angle, puts it in off Bobrovsky from McCabe at 19:28. He was from below the line. So, from behind the net, you shouldn't be able to get that goal, but if you bank it in off the goalie, it is a goal scorer's move. It's a very nice move by Kane. That ties it up at 1-1, which is good because Chicago outplayed Florida through most of that period. Second period, Panthers press at 3.5 minutes. Hawks were blocking. No shots being given up at that point. Verhaeghe's denied on a rush. Duclair can't bury. As it starts to happen, the Islanders are pressing, and the Panthers start juggling some lines. They put Huberdeau and Barkov together. Immediately, it pays dividends. Montour scores from those two players at 7:26. It's through a screen, and it's kind of an out-of-nowhere play. So Florida's ahead 2-1 in a game that, up until then, probably should have been at least 2-0 for Chicago, but not happening. So Weegar nearly fools Fleury on the next opportunity, and it was a momentum shift. The Panthers, you could just feel it. They're taking over. Doc has a shot then that nearly deflects in. The Hawks get a power play. That's killed off. Things get scrummy with 48.7 seconds left. Then you get Reinhart fighting DeHaan. It is the first ever fight in the career of Sam Reinhart. In fact, they look back in his stats in junior. It's possible he had a fight in junior, but that's how far back you have to go to find him in a fight. And he did well. And it was after DeHaan threw a hit. So you end up with a Florida power play out of that. And then we get 4-on-4 21 seconds later, which may very well have been a makeup call. All right. So we go to the third period with the score 2-1 Florida. Florida is 24-0-0 coming into today if they're leading after 2. It's pretty automatic. And at 50 seconds, Weegar makes sure it's really automatic from Verhaeghe, and it barely goes in. It's one of those ones that Fleury almost had that, but he didn't. And then we end up with everything all being killed off as we go from 4-on-4 to power play and all that. It's all killed off. Huberdeau nearly buries one as they press. Acciari has a tip that's saved and held. Nice to see him back on the ice and playing well. Panthers score. It's an offside challenge, and yes, that was offside. The funny thing was the announcers kept saying, I don't know, and I'm just watching it on TV. I'm like, it's offside. Hagel with a rush chance. That's fired wide. The Hawks get a power play, and they score on it. Now, it's 2 minutes exactly, so often those don't count as power play goals. So I didn't initially write it as a power play goal because it showed even strength on the screen. But they said power play goal. They announced it. The app still said it was a power play goal. It's at 12:38. It's exactly 2 minutes after the penalty. So Caleb Jones with that one from DeBrincat and Kane. And it gives some hope here, right? It's only 3-2. That one goes through Bobrovsky, too. So it's one of those ones that Bobrovsky probably wants back. Kane nearly ties it. Marchment, two hands Murphy in the head. No call on that one. Probably a missed call there, I'm thinking. Goalie pull, and then seconds later, Barkov hits the empty net from Forsling and Huberdeau at 18:12. They pull the goalie again. That allows Lundell to hit the empty net from Achari and Ekblad at 18:51. Pretty sure that's Achari's first point of the season. And Florida wins this one 5-2. They go to 35-10-5. Chicago drops to 18-26-8 with the loss. Your shots 11-3 Chicago in the first, 11-8 Florida in the second, and then they really take over. They outshoot Chicago 11-5 in the third. Final shots 25-24 for the Panthers. Power plays the Panthers 0 for 1, Chicago 0 for 4. Hits 30-24 for Florida. Bobrovsky saves 22 out of 24. Fleury saves 20 out of 23. So pretty entertaining game, but again, this is what Florida does. They can be asleep for half of a period of any given game. And you're like, wow, well, I guess they don't have it. Oh, wait, yeah, no, they're going, and it's over. And it's just they do it often, very, very often. So, and hey, when it works, you're good. If it doesn't, it might be a different story. All right, next up, Rangers in against Ottawa. This game, of the four on this board, probably the one that it was the least, I don't want to say least entertaining, because certainly there was entertainment value to this, but there was some crazy stuff in each game, and this one didn't feel quite as crazy. The one thing that drove me crazy was Gord Miller said at the start of the third period, the Rangers have more comeback victories in the third period than any team that's not Florida. And I was like, that's an odd thing to say. And at the end of the game, he said, so it's another comeback victory in a third period for the Rangers. And I was like, so, it's Shesterkin versus Gustafsson, and you'll understand, you probably already understand why. Let's go through it. Anybody else here, or was it just me? So, fast start, back and forth chances. Zibanejad, he has a blast that's saved, and then Stützle opens the scoring for Ottawa. He scores from Gaudette and Zaitsev at 4:52, so Stützle's really starting to come into his own. And he wired it. The Rangers try to answer, and eventually they do. It's Strome from Schneider and Panarin at 7:27, so Schneider continues to impress. The shots are 4-2 for the Rangers at the half. So Ottawa really being kept off the shots. 7+ minutes between shots for the Senators. Long time in between there. The Sens press, though, with 6 minutes left. Paul has a tip that saved. The Rangers clear it out. And then the Rangers press with 3 minutes left. But after the first period, it is 1-1. Second period. Shots are 3-2 for the Rangers at 5 minutes. The Rangers had a fourth line pressure there, and some good runs by that fourth line today, I thought. Fox with the net feed, that's blocked out. The Rangers get a power play. Zibanejad's denied, and he's denied again. However, on that power play, Panarin is not. He puts it in from Zibanejad and Strome at 9:14, and he slapped it straight under the bar and in. Sens try to answer. That's where Shesterkin really takes over. He's now got a lead. The Rangers are ahead, 2-1. Sanford with a rush chance that's saved. Zub has a blast that's saved through a screen, and after the second period, it's 2-1 Rangers. They don't need to come back in the third because it's 2-1 Rangers. Wasn't Jamie McLennan with him? I kept waiting for McLennan to say, Gord, you know the Rangers are ahead, right? Anyways, third period. It's more entertaining than anything, really. Gord Miller does a good job. I don't have a problem with Gord. It was just one of those things that really stood out to me. So, Kelly with a rush chance, that's saved. Rooney with a net feed. Reeves has a chance that's held on to. McKaig has a tip go out as the Rangers press. Tkachuk has a rush, that's cut off by the Rangers. Rangers not really giving the Sens much in the third period. Formenton with a fast break. Shesterkin saves on that. The Sens press, and they draw their first power play of the game. It would also be their only power play of the game. They were 1 for 22 in their last 9 games. Doesn't get better here. A couple of years back, I used to talk about how the Sens power play sucks, and we're getting back to that. So Tkachuk has a chance that's saved. It was a good power play. It had 5 shots, but it's killed off. 4:15 left, the Rangers get a power play. That was killed off. With 1:15 left, the Sens call a timeout. Shesterkin almost hits the empty net. Really close to recording an empty net goal. Shesterkin will be the next goalie to record an empty net goal. Connor Brown has a chance that's saved, and the game was done. So your final score is 2-1 for the Rangers. They go to 32-13-5. Ottawa drops to 18-26-5. Your shots 8-7 Ottawa in the first, 15-7 Rangers in the second, 15-11 Ottawa in the third. Final shots 33-30 for the Rangers. Power plays, Rangers 1 for 2, Ottawa 0 for 1. Hits 30-26 for Ottawa. Shesterkin 29 saves on 30 shots, continues the amazing run he's been on, and Gustafsson saves 31 out of 33. That being said, I need to change boards. And we're on to board number 2, and we're going to talk about Buffalo and Columbus. What a weird game this was. This was an odd one. It's Anderson versus Berube. So while there was a lot of talk about Hammond making his first start in a while, it had almost been that long for Berube. I think there's like a 2-week difference. It's a long time since they started. And so you're kind of rooting for a win for Berube when you're rooting for a win for Hammond, and it comes through. Kukin scores early, 4:47 from Chinikov and Domi. That was on a scramble at the net, so not much chance for Anderson on that. Columbus tries for another. In fact, 5.5 minutes into this, the shots are 6-1 Columbus. And I was feeling bad for Craig Anderson really early in this game. Power play for Columbus. Jenner can't bury one. Laine has a shot that's saved. It's killed off. But at 8.5 minutes, now the shots are 12-1. So, yeah. Buffalo was definitely snoring in this one. So, Columbus gets another power play. That was killed off as well. That was the only 2 power plays they had in the entire game. The shots, though, after that were 16-1. And then the opening goal is, of course, or not the opening goal. The tying goal, of course, gets scored after that. Pesek scores from Olofsson and Cousins at 15:05. And it's one of those bounces that went off Bayreuther's skate right to Pesek, who puts it in the empty net. And it's the second shot of the period. Mittelstadt then has a chance that's saved, but Thompson scores from Tuck at 17:14. So Tuck continues to have a remarkable run. And on the 5th shot, and on a Boquist turnover, all of a sudden, Buffalo has a lead. They've only got 5 shots, and Columbus had, 80 at that point. It felt like it, right? But to the credit of the Columbus Blue Jackets, Jenner, he basically buries it into the empty net from Voracek and Laine at 17:25. And then it happens again. This is not the first time this has happened in a game, so I don't understand this. The puck's in. We can see it's in. The referee sees it's in. Signals a goal. We start playing, and then the horn sounds. Why does the horn sound? The horn sounds to review and make sure the puck's in. They reviewed it. Yeah, puck's in. I do not understand why this has suddenly become a thing. I don't get it. I don't understand why. This is not the first time I've seen this in a game. That's why I'm saying something again, because I don't understand the horn sounding during the play to review and go, yeah, okay, yeah. Review it before the drop of the puck. If you want to review it before the drop of the puck. All right. Cousins nearly gets the lead back for Buffalo. And in the last shift, there's a press by the Sabres. But after the first period, it's 2-2. So second period, good back and forth early, and then Kukin restores the lead for Columbus from Bayreuther and Gauntz at 3:28. Brendan Gauntz, former first-round pick of the Canucks. I mean, I've followed him for years. I'm glad to see he's having a nice run. It's a good story. Gauntz was seen as undersized and too slow, and I'm glad to see him doing well. Laine scores shortly after that. However, it's offside. And as soon as the challenge for offside happens, I pull the goal off the board. Sabres get a power play. Okposo has a shot that's saved. It is killed off. Werenski, though, would add a goal for Columbus from Bjorkstrand and Jenner at 8:16. So with 6.5 minutes left, the shots are 5-4 Columbus. 2 of the 5 shots have gone in the net. So it's a weird period because in the first period, there's 19 shots and 2 of them go in. Second period, we have 5 and 2 of them go in. So just a rough game overall for Buffalo. Columbus presses with 5 minutes left, and eventually they get a goal, and it's a beauty. And it's Brendan Gauntz on a breakaway on a fantastic pass from Laine. Laine all of a sudden setting guys up. This was his second assist of the game. So Gauntz from Laine and Kukin at 17:43. Beautiful breakaway goal. He just wires it. Okposo in the final minute, though, does get Buffalo on the board from Mittelstadt at 19:28. And review confirms it's a good goal. We get 4-on-4 afterwards for some other stuff that was going on. But, the review confirms it's a good goal. There you go. So we're going to the third period with the score. Where are we at? 5-3? 5-3. Cousins has a blast that's saved and held. 5.5 minutes into this, the shots are 9-3 for the Sabres. So what starts to happen is Berube, who looked shaky, very shaky in the first period, starts looking like a veteran goaltender, which he is in the third period. Chinakhov has a net feed that ends up being a near miss. Columbus controls with 3 minutes left, which means it's tougher to get the goalie pulled when you need to. They do finally get the goalie pulled with 2 minutes left. With 1 minute and 1 second left, the Sabres ice it. And eventually, the empty net goal is scored once they get Anderson out again. Nyquist hits the empty net from Corrali at 19:24. So they put the goalie back in at 6-3. And with the goalie in, Danforth scores from Gauntz at 19:56. So Brendan Gauntz with a goal and 2 assists. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's the first time that's happened in his career. Cool. Columbus wins this one 7-3. They go 2 games above 500 for the first time in a while, I do believe. 25-23-1. Buffalo 16-27-8 with the loss. Your shots 19-8 Columbus in the first, 12-10 Columbus in the second, and in the third, Buffalo outshoots them 18-8. So 18 third period saves for Berube. Final shots 39-36 for Columbus, which is remarkable considering that 16-1 that they had in their favor in the first. Power plays, Buffalo 0 for 1, Columbus 0 for 2. Hits 18-15 Columbus. Well, you see 10 goals. There's not a lot of hitting. Anderson 32 saves on 38 shots. Berube saves 33 out of 36. And again, stellar performance by both Hammond and Berube on this day. Good for them. Good stories. I like good stories. All right, next up, Dallas. So there's this relationship I've had with the Dallas Stars that dates back to, I want to say 2011. Might even be before that. There's part of me that thinks it's 2008 or 2009. Dallas has had this thing that, as a fan of the Stars, I've watched them do numerous times, where all they have to do is win a game to get above the playoff line. All they have to do is win a game maybe to confirm a playoff spot, and it just doesn't happen. So today was one of those days where it's okay. You're going in against the Arizona Coyotes. If you get a win, right? No. So it's Ottinger versus Wedgwood. Arizona. One thing I want to talk about with Arizona games too is, so I'm flipping through all the games. Arizona games look like they're being shot through a glass of water. The lighting looks odd, and I can't figure out whether the lighting is actually different in Arizona's arena than it is in every other arena around the NHL, or what it is. Like, I get it. San Jose, they film theirs from space. Their camera, it looks like it's in space. But the Arizona one, I can't figure out if it's a filter, but it's one of those things that just drives me crazy, because I go to an Arizona game and I'm like, what? Why does it look like that? It looks strange. So, and I don't know if it's actually different there, or if it's the way they shoot it, or what it is. So maybe Arizona fans would know what I'm talking about. Maybe somebody who's been there would say, yeah, it's different colors, and it's just the lighting's different there. It's weird. So the shots are 2-1 for the Coyotes at 5 minutes, and the starts for me early in this game. Ladd exits after a collision. Looked like he hurt his leg, right leg. Boyd has a tip that's saved. The Coyotes get a power play. They manage 1 shot on that. Eriksson can't quite get to the net. Boyd is denied after that. Another good start for Ottinger, which was good because Dallas did not have a good start to this game. So the Coyotes go back to the power play. It's killed off, no shots. Mosier defends a rush by Sagan, and in the last minute there's a press by the Coyotes. And again, it's scoreless after 1. And there's a part of me saying, you know, this is a situation I've seen before with Dallas. Second period, Suter with a net drive. He fires high. The Coyotes press at 2 minutes. Mayo breaks up a 2-on-1. They talked a lot about Lyubushkin too, and how Lyubushkin being traded is because Mayo and Mosier have emerged on their blue line, so they don't need Lyubushkin at this point because they've got other defensemen that can step in. Stars, not much room the first 5 minutes. Schmaltz has a chance that's saved, and then Krause scores from Schmaltz at 10-13. It's 1-0 Arizona. Now, to Dallas's credit, they do score pretty quickly after that. It's hints from Pavelski and Heiskanen at 11 minutes and 10 seconds. And then the Stars start pressing for the lead. They get a power play. That becomes a 4-on-4 shortly thereafter. Ghost has a chance that's blocked. Kessel has one that's saved. And then the power play that results from, that 4-on-4 means there's overlap. The power play for Arizona succeeds. It's Nick Schmaltz, one of my favorite members of the Arizona Coyotes, admittedly, from Gostisbehere and Keller at 17:05. And really what this came down to after the first 40 minutes to me was Arizona was putting in the work. Dallas was getting that work from their top line. When the Hintz line is on the ice, it's completely different. It's like with Minnesota with the Kaprizov line, but Minnesota's got other lines running. Dallas tonight really didn't. And so we go to the third period, and this is really where the uh-oh picks up, because it's 2-1 Arizona, and then Wedgwood Snow Angels on one, and makes it clear this is where you start getting goalied. So Hintz, their line pressing, more saves, and then their next turn on the ice, they're pressing again. So no fault here for Hintz in that line. They're fantastic, which is Hintz, Pavelski, and Robertson. The Stars press, that ends up drawing a power play. It's killed off. Galchenyuk then has a rush after it's done. That's denied. Coyotes press, the Stars rush after that. Robertson can't bury one. Hintz was denied. And again, this is where you can tell Wedgwood's in the zone. Stars getting goalied in the third. Mayo with a blast saved as the Coyotes push. So me putting goalied right there is me saying, yeah, Dallas isn't scoring. Pavelski couldn't bury one. 5:15 left. Robertson's denied. The puck's held onto. With 1:47 left, the Coyotes ice the puck, which gives the Stars the chance to pull the goalie. So they do. They didn't call a timeout either. Klingberg stops an empty net goal. However, at 19:25, Arizona hits the empty net. It's Keller from Schmaltz. And so your final score is 3-1 for the Arizona Coyotes. They go to 13, 33, and 4. With that loss, Dallas drops to 27, 20, and 2. And it's one of those costly losses. If Dallas misses the playoffs by a couple of points, this is one of those ones we'll look back on. So your shots, 12-7 Arizona in the first, 10-9 Arizona in the second, 17-5 Dallas in the third. So yeah, once he had that lead, Wedgwood locked it down. Final shots, 33-27 for Dallas. Power plays, Dallas 0 for 2, Arizona 1 for 3. The hits, 25-21 for the Coyotes. Ottinger saves 24 out of 26. He was very good. Wedgwood saves 32 out of 33. He was just that much better. So the Coyotes with a win, play the spoiler role. And for Dallas, well, they had their chance. They had their chance because Minnesota tonight, after a couple of losses, not tonight they weren't. And so for Edmonton, who's had these 5 wins in a row and look like they're on their way up, this could very well be a one-off. But now they have to go through the tough road games that Vancouver, Calgary have already gone through. They have to do Florida, Carolina. They have to do that. And so we shall see over the next couple of games what kind of a bounce back the Oilers can have. It was Kakkonen versus Smith. Back and forth action early. Duhaime scores from Bukestad at 2:49. I think that was the second shot of the game for Minnesota. Minnesota then gets a power play and they score on it. It's Eriksson from Kaprizov at 5:20. And then on the 5th shot the Minnesota gets, they got their third goal. It's Fiala from Brodin at 6:10. It's a fast break, and it was an Edmonton turnover. So I talked last night in the review of Anaheim Vancouver about how it was kind of a team effort with the loss, and it would be easy to point at the stats of the goaltender at the end of the night and say, well, the goaltending wasn't there. I kind of feel like that was the case in this game too. Not that the goalies played great, but there was some help. So fast break goal, and yeah, McDavid then's denied in close, and then at 13:38, Fiala scores from Boldy. Fiala loves Boldy being on his line. And honestly, I think that's been great for Fiala, who was, he was in quite the cold realm when it comes to scoring for a while there, and not lately. So the Oilers get a power play. Koskinen's in now. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has a blast that's saved. Berries was saved as well, but then Kane scores from Nugent-Hopkins and Draisaitl at 16:32. To the crowd's credit, they did cheer and they did celebrate that. That's nice to hear when your team's down 4-0 and you celebrate the goal. Kaprizov was then denied the next shift. So that shift after the goal, you got to watch that because Kaprizov comes out, he's pretty good. Second period, the Oilers fighting really strong defense by the Minnesota Wild. They were doing their best to try to lock it down. Shots are 2-0 for the Oilers at 4 minutes. Kaprizov decides to go 1 versus 5. It doesn't really work. Actually, I knew what he was trying to do, but there were just too many orange jerseys there for him to get through. No shots for the Wild at 8 minutes, but at 8:28 on what was their second shot, Dewar scores from Kulikov. So it was just kind of flung at the net. It bounces off a post and off Koskinen and in. So that's a goal, makes it 5-1. Wild press for another. The Oilers get a power play. That was killed off. And then it's Boldy. Absolutely gorgeous goal. Goudreau with the assist at 14:21. Just Boldy is such an amazing talent, so he gets the goal to go with the assist. It is the 5th time this season that the Oilers have allowed 6 or more goals. Obviously the first time since the coaching change, but it is the 5th time that's happened. And again, people will point at the goaltending. The defense has a role in this as well for Edmonton. Now, Benson, a good story for Edmonton tonight. Tyler Benson scores his first NHL goal from Lagesson and Hyman at 15:58. And then the Oilers have a little bit of momentum. So after the second period, it was 6-2. I got to listen to the Sportsnet coverage talk about how the Oilers can come back and win this, which it's an opinion. And you know what? I get it. You have to sell the fans on hope. Don't change the channel. They can come back. Don't go away. Third period, awkward fall for McDavid, which had to have everybody a little bit scared in Oilers land, but it's all right. Shots are 3-0 for the Oilers at 4.5 minutes. And then there's a turnover. And this is the thing. There's a turnover, and it's in the net. Zuccarello scores from Hartman at 5:36. That makes it 7-1. Or 7-2, I should say. And that was where I thought I was going to be using one of the Cobra Kai magnets. I was like, okay, it's more than 4 goals. It's going to be a Cobra Kai no mercy. There was a no mercy in this, though. So it's the 6th time this season that Minnesota scored 7 or more goals. Just ridiculous. Fiala draws a power play. That's killed off. Brodin's denied the 8th goal for Minnesota by Nurse. Fiala and Kane are unfriendly. The Wild get a power play. Now, this is where Edmonton might have got mad. The Minnesota had their top unit out there for the power play. So there's a shorthanded goal scored, although it was as the power play ended. So again, it's one of those 2-minute things. 18:54, it's Hyman from McLeod. So the Oilers might have been kind of ticked off that they had their top guys still out there going for more. But yeah, so that's as close as the Oilers get, 7-3. Minnesota goes to 31-13-3. The Oilers drop to 28-19-3. And so again, you can see that if Dallas had won, they would have been within 1 point of the Oilers. And I know the Oilers right now are 3rd in the Pacific, but if the Oilers drop down to a wild card spot, if the Kings... Anyway, so your shots in this one, 13-11 Edmonton in the first, 14-6 Edmonton in the second, 6-5 Edmonton in the third. Final shots were 33-22 for Edmonton. And it's funny because towards the end of the game, they talked about, well, the Oilers just weren't sharp, and the Oilers were, maybe they're tired. And all I could think was, these are turnovers, they're defensive errors, and the goaltending was not up to par. So if a team's tired, they usually won't outshoot the other team 33-22. Your power plays 1 for 3 for Minnesota, 1 for 2 for Edmonton. Hits 22-19 for the Oilers. Kakinen saves 30 out of 33. Smith saves 3 out of 7. And Koskinen saves 12 out of 15. So neither goaltender had great stats. And again, Minnesota now keeps that record of not having lost 3 in a row in regulation at all this year. And yeah, remind everybody that they're one of the better teams in the league. All right, that being said, moving along. Vegas and San Jose renewing their rivalry. Although the rivalry doesn't really kick in until very late in the third period. Up until then, it was pretty sedate. Because like I said, you don't have Ryan Reeves playing for Vegas anymore. You don't have Evander Kane playing for San Jose anymore. The hate is gone. They're not even in the same conference. We're not going to see the Rangers and the Oilers 5 times a year. I love those battles. And they're kind of over. So it's Thompson versus Reimer as Logan Thompson gets the start. And he's really good. I saw Thompson here playing for Henderson against Abbotsford. He wasn't as impressive in that game as he was in this one in the NHL. Sharks press at 3 minutes. Then there's a 4-minute Vegas power play. They did review it to make sure it was 4 minutes, and it was. Pacioretty can't bury one. Reimer holds. Stevenson's denied. There's a shorthanded 2-on-1. Thompson makes the save, and then Hurdle misses the net. It's all killed off, though, so no harm, no foul. But not long after it ends, Kolasar opens the scoring from Howden and Theodore at 10-14. And then Vegas presses for another. It's that momentum thing for Vegas, right? Another power play for them, and then becomes a 4-on-4. And during said 4-on-4, Eichel So if you watch this play, and if you haven't seen it, by all means, go check out the highlight. This is the Jack Eichel I remember from Buffalo, the beast mode Jack Eichel, where he just wills the puck around and into the net. And he did that here from Stevenson and Pietrangelo at 14:34. I will agree with the announcers. I was kind of surprised Stevenson didn't put it in the net instead. Everything gets killed off from that, but Vegas is up 2-0 after the first. Second period, 1:23 in, Pacioretty roofs one from Theodore and Eichel. They reviewed to make sure it was in the net, and it was. We're starting to review goals that are clearly in the net. I get it. You always want to get the call right, but maybe we're almost to the point where we're just going to review every goal. We won't get there. I'm just being facetious. Burns has a blast that almost deflects in. Brent Burns had a lot of shots in this game. I don't know how many of them had traffic in front of the net, though. I don't know how many of them had a chance to really beat a goaltender at the NHL level, but he did have a lot of opportunities. Sharks press, that draws a power play. Raw gets a shorthanded chance with that. Reimer holds on that. Then there's a poke check by Thompson on a Gregor break. So really nice poke check there by Logan Thompson. Shots are 10-5 for the Sharks at the half. Couture gets denied. Thompson holds there. We go into the third with the score 3-0 for Vegas. There really isn't anything in doubt at this point except will Thompson get the shutout. Third period, Burns has a chance to deflects out. Dodonov with a net feed. Reimer holds there. Dodonov hasn't had a goal in, I think they said 10 games. Cogliano with a rush chance. That wouldn't go. Dahlin is then denied. Burns has a blast that's saved. Thompson, I really think, on a day where some interesting goaltending stories take place, Thompson's is as interesting as anybody else's. Okay, maybe Hammond's is the most interesting. Maybe Berube's up there. But anyways, Thompson's in that category. So the shots are 4 apiece at 9 minutes. Hurdle was down. The fans wanted a call there. However, San Jose does get on the board. It's Bonino from Cogliano and Middleton at 10-17. So that makes it 3-1. It's still a game. Eichel then had a wraparound chance. That wouldn't go. With 8:17 left, the Sharks get a power play. During that, Couture is denied. The power play is killed off. We get another chance for Burns. That's saved and held on to. Goalie pull with 2:27 left. The Sharks call a timeout with 52 seconds left. Whatever they discussed, unsuccessful. The empty netter is Stevenson from Pacioretty and Raw at 19:27. And then with about 8 seconds left, VL just decides, I want to punch everybody. And he kind of sort of did. So, again, it's VL's game, and there was some dragging and pulling around. And what got me was that the linesmen were in the middle, and it didn't feel like players on either team were overly concerned that linesmen were in the middle trying to break it up. So, yeah, it was kind of ugly at the end. I think they kicked 4 players out. It was 8 seconds left, so just send them to the, you're off to the showers. Go. So your final score is 4-1 for Vegas. I don't think any of that necessarily rolls over to the next game. Next time they meet each other, I think it's March 1st. You might see VL in a fight at the start. I'll say VL and Colasar pair off in the next game. That should be about it. Vegas goes to 29-18-4, and again, with this win combined with the Oilers' loss, puts Vegas in a better position, right? For San Jose, 22-22-5, and they are fading. They are fading in any kind of hopes of making it to the playoffs. Your shots, 16-8 Vegas in the first, 14-9 San Jose in the second, 14-10 San Jose in the third. Final shots, 36-35 for the Sharks. Power plays, both teams go 0 for 3. Hits, 36-15 for San Jose. So they were hitting a lot tonight. Thompson, 35 saves on 36 shots. Reimer, 31 saves on 34 shots for him. So Reimer had a half-decent game, but in the end, Vegas was just, they were the better team tonight. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always, regarding any of these games. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.